think we're back. This is part 2 of my solve of this puzzle, which so far I'm finding very, very enjoyable. It's the puzzle which won the Ascot Gold Cup for the year 2003. So it was the most popular listener puzzle amongst the listener solvers in 2023. On the first run through of the clues, we yielded a very nice little crop of answers. We're dealing with 3 types of clues. There are clues where letters are ignored within the wordplay, and those ignored letters, I've highlighted those in the I've highlighted those ignored letters within the grid, because I think we need to come back to these, because apparently they spell out, when translated, a phrase or a phrase that needs to be translated. We also have 23 clues that contain 2 consecutive letters that need to be ignored, and we've worked out what all of those are except 2, because once we take those 2 consecutive letters, we add together their letter values, we get this message: scissors, glue, twice, and offcut, which completes this instruction. Having located the object required to make the thematic object in 3D, solvers should construct it using scissors, glue, indicated twice at appropriate places. Solvers must submit only the offcut. Now, we know that there's going to be an L and an E. We'll go back to the clues and identify. That'll help us, I think, pass out some of the clues which are currently unsolved. The RSS was just thinking about going to bed, even though I'm not tired and my phone dinged with your notification. I'm sorry to keep you up. If you are tired, I am going to upload this stream again as a video, so it can be watched back later. I know we've done quite a bit of solving today. But if you are up for the ride and you do want to help me solve the balance of this crossword, stick around and chime in. So I need to find the L and the E, and of course the third type of clue, the clues that are just normal and have conventional grid entries. So after we made the G and the U, G and before the U, we need to find a clue that will yield the L, and we also need to find a clue that will yield the E for twice. The clue that will yield the L is going to have to be 45 across, which we haven't solved yet. This will probably help us solve that clue, because we can work out what the additional letters are going to be. Burbs, B-I-R-B-S. What are burbs? Birds. Yes, of course. Birds. It's a clue that's made for you. So we need to remove 2 consecutive letters which add together to give L, or 12. It's going to be that. Where are we? Church, fish, no. G and E probably does. G, E, G, H, I, J, K, L. But G and E is probably a good candidate for it. But I think that may well be the only way we can get there. So let's make that. So something about seabirds in flight, fish for A, long before sun appears. Fish for A. So we might be replacing a fish with A in seabird. So seabirds in flight. I mean, is seabirds in flight a word? But we need to replace A with a fish. Long before sun appears. I'm not sure. Fish for A long before sun appears. Not sure. What else do we have? We also have before twice. So one of these clues, we need to remove a pair of letters that gives us E. And I suspect it's going to be this one here. There is no alternative. It potentially gives Tina, which we've actually already tentatively entered into the grid. But can we make E out of extra letters to try and understand the rest of the passing? Oh, here we go, shadowing. Shadowing would give E, A plus D, 1 plus 4 equals E. So, to my not showing such an object, but maybe it's not Tina, but that would give us the E. Where are you off to, Smellbot?
Babysitting.
Okay. Happy with those. I am happy with those. What is that bird clue? Good question. Seabirds in flight, fish for A long before sun appears. A long before could be an archaic word for A. It might be that we're looking for something which means appears. So seabirds can be erns, I think, like an eagle, the sea eagle. I'm not quite sure. What's 40 down? 40 down crosses with 45. They initially stop progress involving shared responsibility. They initially stop progress. Does SR mean shared responsibility? I don't think so. They initially stop progress. It could be T initially stops progress, but I'm not sure what would be stop, not stops. Or initially stop progress could give SP. Not quite sure. But just coming back to the seabird clue, I mean, the only seabird I can think of is like, starts with these erns. This is another sort of word for that. I mean, I'm not sure what seabirds in flight could be. Fish for A long before sun appears. I mean, I do like the definition being appears. And maybe it... I just can't quite pass it. No. So we know that now that this is going to be either a normal clue or a clue where some of the words are not, some of the letters are not indicated by the wordplay. Army snack, something from a ration box maybe, is for purchase as well reportedly. Not sure. Fence's move shows indication of error in position. Jack's 26. Jack's in game finally loses temper. I think Shark suggested before when we were solving this that this could potentially be a say which can mean to temper. We do have finally, oh no. How can it mean to temper? Indication of an error could be, it could be an X. Yeah, from 25 across. Indication of error could well be a cross. I was thinking of something like sick, as it appears in thing, but the indication of error could be X in something, in a word meaning position. I mean, that wordplay would make sense. Then we'd be looking for a Fence's move. The definition is surely going to be Fence's move. No, I mean, what are fencing moves? I suppose there's a lunge. I know that one. I don't know any others. Jack's in game. Finally loses temper. Lunge, fletch, feint, parry. And they're all certainly more than 3 letters, aren't they? What are some words that mean temper? Let's have a look at that. Thesaurus. Allay can be temper. No. Soften, modify, mitigate, assuage, tone down. Temper can be R, I suppose, I-R-E. Anything from 21 down? N-O something R-E. Good morning, Shark. I do have sleigh written in. I think we got that last time, didn't we? Where was sleigh? That was the Scottish. Oh, it's meant to be sleighs, of course. It's a mistake. Let me just go down and check 34 down. Yeah, sleighs. Good spot. Very good spot, Shark. We were solving some of Liari's crosswords earlier, and Very, very good crossword setter. Magnificent surface ratings. 45 across, so that gives S for this then. Seabirds in flight. Fish for A, long before sun appears. Seabirds in flight. Yeah, so the bird one would be that. Then the only thing I can really think of there is sorties, but that's not really... Sorties is like an air raid for a Sally. Seabird. Seabirds can't... I mean, is a seabird a type of bomber? No, it's only a bird. Just wondering if it was slang somehow for like a plane that might be used to fly sorties. I mean, the other thing that's a little bit infuriating is about this clue is I can't quite work out what the passing is, how it's passed. I mean, before, A long before may be an indication we're looking for an archaic word for A that's to be replaced by a fish. I'm going to look up birds and see if we can find some seabirds that might start with this. Not a swift, not a swallow, probably not a sedge. Shrike? Shrike, is it? Shrike a seabird? No, it's a butcher bird. And shrikes would fit. Scrays are terns and arrays are fish. So if we had scrays, an array is replacing A. Skays? Well, Scrays is probably our best bet. There's no doubt about that, but yeah, just don't know how we pass it. See, but and then we got in flight, fish for A. Long before sun appears. I mean, maybe some liberties taken with this clue, but if it was scrays, then seabirds would be the definition. Then we've got in flight fish for A, so maybe it's SC something E, and we swap out that. Long before sun appears. If it was scrays, then 40 down would end in a Y. Sun can certainly be S, and that's. I'm wondering if the S, if that the sun includes the S on the end of that word, scrays. They initially stopped. But what if this was a Y at the end here? They initially stopped progress and joy involving shared responsibility. I mean, the only word I can think of here is sway. They initially stopped progress involving shared responsibility. Could be a stay. A stay stops progress. That might mean that Ewan is incorrect. Get rid of that Y. Don't want it to infect our thinking. What about 23, Dan? We haven't really paid much attention to that. Tway is a pair. Y means progress. T initially, stop. There's a Scots form of two. Stop. Spencerian form of twain. Scots form of twain or twa. But could that mean? Yeah, I'm not sure that could mean shared responsibility. The W could be wrong. The W could be incorrect. Toy? No. Twelve? And we could also be dealing with clue that doesn't give wordplay for everything. 23 there, I'm coming to this. Fairly sure Norse God is as, keeps in touch, which I want it to be Pat, something AT, with Old Norse ON, with feeling. 2 words. I wonder if could at mean in touch with? I think at probably does mean in touch with, because it means on something, right? So maybe that's all we're getting in terms of the define at. In touch with could certainly be defined as ON. As around, yeah, that's what I was thinking. A tatons. Wait a second. Yeah, extra A tatons, right. Gropingly, it means. With feeling. Oh my goodness. What a vague definition. Would give us an extra T. I can't help but have a giggle at that one. 25 across then. So if our theory is right about how this works, then the T would also be included in 25 across. Doesn't leave much at all. An indication of an error in position. Now, fences move. And the wordplay potentially is only 2 letters. It only gives 2 letters, something and E. Indication of error in position. I mean, it could be an abbreviation of some sort. Just going through words that start TE. There's 8, of course. There's eat, I think. Is that defined in chambers? No. Ite, indication of no. Oat, on target is ute. I mean, that doesn't give us anything. So, I mean, we're potentially looking for a consonant to start it off. PTE, private, RTE. Not an STE, feminine of saint. Have I got, is 16 down? Correct. RORE, because we had that as old tumult scene when conquerors turn up. Yeah, it was certainly correct there, because it was just a hidden reversal clue. Appears in reversing RORE. But what on earth could something TE be here? Fences move shows indication of error. It's not going to be OTE of all the equivalent. PTE, RTE, STE, UTE. Totally perplexed by that. Totally perplexed. And I think, I mean, both of those crossing entries have to be correct. See you later, Liari. Thanks for joining me today. Yep. Riposte is another move, which has a TE. It does too, doesn't it? Another fences move. Quick thrust. And position is almost spot, right? But no. We don't have a... This isn't something where we need to put multiple words into... So multiple letters into a single cell. Yeah, Shark's just come up with that same suggestion as well. So say we do have a fences move, and it is riposte. Assume that's the answer. What we do know is that we have a preamble that says numbers in brackets refer to lengths of entries. We know there are going to be clues where... I'll see you next time, Liari. Thanks for your help. And you may well have set us on the right track here with riposte. We know there are clues that have unconventional grid entries because our attention is focused on clues that have conventional grid entries. There might not be anything in the preamble indicating that we have rebus style entries or multiple letters in a grid. But what we do have is It's apparently we need to construct something using scissors and glue indicated twice at appropriate places. Now, maybe one of those indications might be something like rip POS. I mean, position POS. Position can be short for, yeah, POS can be short for position. Fences move. Yes, I would like some pizza. Something funny is definitely going on. Assuming something funny is going on along these lines, wonder if that gives us any might be that some of these other entries we haven't got also contain multiple letters per cell. What is that? This is the preamble. The only part that indicates an unconventional grid entry is a reference to clues that have a conventional grid entry. In fact, the other two gimmicks don't refer at all to clues. They're clues not having conventional grid entries. So I suspect that perhaps there are clues that don't have conventional grid entries. That has to be correct. It has to be what's going on here. We have clues without conventional grid entries. Huh. That's devious. Very, very devious. Liari posted all the other fencing moves in the chat before. Lunge, fletch, feint, parry. May well be more. Post as a thrust after a parry. Ooh, okay. Position can be post, can't it? So position can be a post. But we don't have anything in post. We have indication of error in position. Position can be posed, so in position. So imagine the T is unclued, as it is in the Dan clue, we think. Perhaps this T is going to be left unclued, which position gives pose. Then we only need to account for the RI. Nooners could well be meetings if we're looking at extra words, extra cells in grids. Good spot. Alright, Darren, if you're driving to work, we may well be able to. I might be able to. That might just be enough of a nudge for me to get the rest of this out. Meetings at lunchtime. Activities taken during the lunch break. Nobody on right has meetings. So it's no one on right has. It is absolutely Nooners. Has gives the R, so no one is nobody. R and S for has. Nooners, which is. What colour should I make this? Certainly not a conventional clue. I'll make it green. We're 21 down, Nooners. Gives us a 1 in that cell. So we've got 1 in that cell, which means that no doubt we're dealing with the same thing across an entry. So 26 across. Perhaps what we're in fact looking for is something S, something ONE. And when we enter this, I mean, perhaps we are meant to enter this as just numeral 1. One other thought was they could be clashing cells spelling out a thematic word. I can't see anything for, I see. Can't see anything for something S, something ONE. Yeah, no, you're right. It could well be. We've got a stoned, or a stones in the shorter Oxford. Just means to bewilder. To astonish. I don't think that means temper or loses temper. It could be a stones, but I don't think that's given by loses temper. It's more amazed or shocked. Jacks in game. Jacks are stones, they are. Would you mean that the A would be under-indicated? But what would the game be? And what would the game be? Just trying to find where the stone is a jack. Yeah, a game of dibs. Yeah, so jacks in game could be stones. The game of dibs. Yeah, that would give stones. Would it though? If a jack is also called a jackstone, or if jacks are also called jackstones, does jacks in game then give stones? So dibs is a children's game played by throwing up small bones or stones. I suppose it's dib stones. Could well be dib stones, you know. So maybe that we're just dealing with And what would tempers be? Catch you later, Shark. I'm hoping I'm hoping to have a breakthrough. What time? What time we next log in? What if it is stones? I mean, and dib stones could be the answer. It finally loses temper. Temper could be tone. So it might be that the only part of it that is clued is tone, is S and temper. So, I mean, we could be dealing with dib stones, but everything except stone is unclued. I'm going to pencil that in red. Because jacks in games could certainly give us dib stones. This is getting very, very tricky. Which would mean we have I do like it. I do like it. There are other types of stones though that are used in a game. Probably not jacks. I mean, it could also be jack stones. I mean, there's no reason why it would be dib stones. But I mean, it was strange for. But if it was jack stones, then that would mean we're potentially dealing with cards. So jack and one. I wonder if we can make another number out of some of these things. Let's approach some of these other clues that way. Let's go up to 17 across. This ends in T, but the T I assume is not going to be clued. Scott's urged on in the match. An army snack is for purchase as well. I mean, I just want it to be buy two, right? Or to buy. Buy two, but buy two. Four by two. An army biscuit. A 4x2 is an army biscuit. There we go. We're on to something here. A 4x2 is an army biscuit. We're definitely dealing with letters. Sorry, numbers. All of those numbers are indicated by that clue. Yep. This is a breakthrough. 4. That means we're not dealing with Tina, we're dealing with Teenie. 4 by 2 is an army biscuit. There we go. We're on to something here. A 4x2 is an army biscuit. All of those numbers are indicated by that clue. Yep. This is a breakthrough. 4. That means we're not dealing with Tina, we're dealing with Teenie. Two-way. Means 40 down is probably going to be two-way, and that works with shared responsibility. So they initially, stop is woo, progress is way, that's two-way. That is all given by the clue. Make that green. Where's our... Yeah, we're looking at numbers. What was the one I was looking at before? 39 across. 4 by 2. Make that green. Clue that does not have a conventional entry. Two-way. Means looking at potentially tiny here for 27 across. 6. Oh, of course it is. A parry. Fencing position. Fence's move is 6th. So indication of error is an X, in position is sight, which means that the T here, this T would actually be indicated. So would be indicated. And I think this part of the preamble, numbers in brackets refer to links of the entries. I think that's sufficient to indicate that we've got multiple letters per cell. Let me just go back down to 23 down. Because, I mean, we were thinking that this is a clue that does not have one of the T's indicated. We know AS is a Norse god. Where's AS, the Norse god? Where's he gone? Norse god, inhabitant of Asgard. Norse god, AS, keeps in touch with, which we had as at, or in touch. I mean, could tat mean in touch? I don't think so. Tap. Keeps in touch. Yeah, no, tap. So the T is indicated. So as AS keeps in, as in has inside itself, touch, tat with ON. This is in fact a normal clue, not a clue that has. So I'll make that purple. Not a clue that is missing something. Now that numerical thing would suggest then that we are dealing with jackstones perhaps, and perhaps we are looking at a set of cards. We have a set of numbers. So 1, 2, we haven't got 3, we haven't got 4, we haven't got 5, but we do have 6. 1, 2, 4, 6. Now they're going to be used as some sort of indication to do something. I'm wondering if there's a stone that has a number in front of it. I'll go through a list of stones here. Is it... No, it's probably it. So jackstone. I mean, jackstone's more likely than dibstone, I think. We think that the I is indicated by H's. I just spotted that. So a board game in which one must take out 7. Does it mean in which? I don't think it does. Because we have A, board game in which one must take out 7. But maybe I'm not sure how. Because we think now that I'm still not quite sure how to pass this 12 down. A in chess, removing one of the S. Letters is H's. Not sure. Okay, 17 across. Let's have a look at this with this fresh idea that we may have. Let's make sure words in here. Scots urged on in the match. Scots urged on in the match. One pit, 2 pit, 3 pit, 4 pit, 5 pit, 6 pit, 7 pit, 8 pit, 9 pit. Urged on in the match. I wonder if it could just be spit. I mean, to be a spitting image of something is to. No, I can't really see that. Can we find a word for Scots urged on? I don't think so. Three pit, threep it. To urge, to press eagerly. Urged on is threep. It's far out. Three pit is a word. It is a Scots word for urged on. But how does that give in the match? And could pit mean the match? Try a pit stop? No. Put. Fruit stone. Hole in the earth. Bed. Not at all. Not at all sure how that is given by the is indicated in the wordplay there, or how some of those letters are indicated in the wordplay there. Unless it's RE on, and we're looking at not urged on, we're looking at just Scots word for urge as a definition. On in the match. So we would then have the on in the, and match must mean to pit. Put in the pit, yeah, to match with, yeah. Right, so this, once again, is a clue that doesn't have any other gimmicks going on. It suggests that this T is not an extra word. not an extra, sorry, it's not an unclude letter, which means that we haven't quite worked out what's going on with H's. If indeed the answer is H's, we could actually have something similar going on with H's. What is it, 12 down? Board game in which one must take out 7 letters. I mean, letters definitely gets us there for H's, but chess definitely gets us there for the CHS part. 8 is a small island and a Scots form of 8. I mean, 8 doesn't give just a simple A. But I wonder if, is there a version of, we have in the grid, say, we have letter 1, we have letter 2, we have letter 3, we have 4, and we have 6 and Jack. We don't have a 5. Presumably there is a 5 somewhere. Flitches? No. Witches, kitches. And should we be having everything spelt out? I mean, this actually is 5 stones. Well, we haven't got a 5 yet. There are 5 stones. The children's game of dibs or jacks played out with 5 stones. So perhaps we're not looking for jacks here, we're looking for 5. That makes me feel a bit more comfortable with that one. That's 26 across, I think. That's thematic. So Jackson Games finally loses temper. I only have stone out of this. Finally loses, gives S, and temper gives tone, which would make it a clue which is missing some things. Make it one of these ones. If we're correct about that, which look, we've got no reason to think that we are incorrect about it. So that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all indicated in the grid. I think we can account for, well, the only clue we haven't passed is 12, and the only clue we haven't solved is 45. But I doubt there's going to be a 7. Oh, here we go. We haven't worked out 27 down, which we think is tiny. There is no alternative to my not showing such an object. Now, if we think this is 2 by 4, tiny means very small. There's almost a clash there, isn't it? I'm not sure how we get tiny out of that. I mean, we obviously do, but it's what fits. The preamble doesn't talk about clashes in cells. It doesn't say that. This has to be 5 stones. I don't think there's any way about that. There is no alternative because Tina, to my not showing such an object. What about if it was tiny without or else? I just don't see how. You get it. Well, such an object, I mean, maybe that could define tiny. Do not understand the passing of that clue. Same with 45 across. I mean, seabirds in flight, fish for A, long before sun appears. Maybe just greys. I feel like I've sort of run up against a wall here. Let's do what we did last time. Just go back to this first instruction. So a number of letters are ignored in the wordplay within their clues. These spell out the phrase when read from left to right, top to bottom, and should be translated before entry into the grid. So, I mean, what we do have is C-A-T, yeah, left to right, top to bottom. E-S, 5, S-T-A-L-E-A. I mean, that doesn't really give much of a phrase, does it? How do we translate that? How on earth do we translate that? Can't for the life of me work this one out. We know it's a clue where we have extra letters. We know seabirds are scrays. And maybe we're looking for something else, a sarnie, a sandwich. Indian crane, is that a seabird? I don't think a crane's a seabird. It is a wading bird. Sarises. Scrays is the tern, which we did have. Long-billed aquatic bird. Shrike is a butcher bird, but I don't think it's a seabird. Shrine, Shrive, Shrove, Syrah, Sorridge, first year of a hawk. Once again, not a seabird. Sorix. Shrew's not a seabird. There's so many birds that can fit. I know, we know that we have to have a Y here, of course, which only gives scrays. I mean, scrays is the only thing that's given by that. But I wonder what if there was potentially something extra here? Silver eyes, that's a songbird. So many birds. And screw eyes. I wonder if we'll centipede. No. So we've only got scrays. Seabirds in flight. Fish for A. This is another word for fish for an old way for A. Then we've got but the sun appears thing. Not at all. Not at all sure how it's meant to be clued. But scrays is the best bit that we do have for this. If I need to go and meditate on the rest of this. We have two clues that we haven't sorted out yet. We have all of these highlighted letters which do not seem to be indicated. So 3 clues that we haven't passed yet. Let's highlight letters which do not seem to be indicated by their wordplay. We've sorted out this part. We know that we need to locate material required to make the thematic object in 3D. It's going to be a dice. It's got to be a dice. So we have, look at this. It has to be a dice. We have a dice net here. I'm just going to, how do I make a new layer? Check this out. It's a dice. If I draw this on top here, that can be the net of a dice, this entire area here. And, I mean, 6 is opposite the 1, 5 will be opposite the 2, and 4 will be opposite the 3. But we are looking at a dice net. So, I mean, that green that I'm shading in there, that's, I can click that on and off, but that's just to illustrate that. So, having located the material required to make the thematic object in 3D, solvers should construct it using scissors and glue indicated twice at appropriate places. Now where's the glue indicator then? Where on earth is the glue indicator? Not at all sure where the glue is indicated. Definitely got a dice net. Definitely got a dice net. We have, what we do have, which could be an indication to us, is tet and tet, maybe. Could tet indicate something to us? Not really. Not really at all. Anyway, this is the other part that we haven't looked at. There's some of the clue numbers that have both a normal clue and a conventional entry confirms the number of squares to be submitted in the solution. Well, let's look at that. So we have clue number 1, clue 18. Put this in. We think these are the ones with the traditional clues. Conventional clues and conventional entries. 43, 2, 16, possibly 12 as well. I'm not sure about 2, 12 is potentially 16 and 23. So 2, 12, 16, and we think potentially 23. So what does that give us? Get the calculator out. One plus 18 plus 43 plus 2 plus 16 plus 23. Because it's 103, or if we had the 12 in as well, 115. So if we only meant to submit the offcut, try to work out how many things would then be submitting. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we've got 13 by 13, which I think gives 169, doesn't it? Minus 6 times 9 for just the dice net. Let me check that. Yeah, 169, 6 times 9 is 54. That gives 115. So if we're just submitting the offcut, those numbers match up, which means that also tells us that 12 down is going to be a normal clue. This is not going to be missing anything. I'm not sure how it works. Not sure at all how it works. Is Sitches a board game? A board game in which one must take out 7 letters. We thought that was S, chess minus the S, but we know this is going to be a conventional clue. As long as we aren't in fact using 6 of the so 12 letters to make to do the gluing. Funny that I'd use 3D, that they spell 3D like that as well. Why wouldn't they just use the numeral 3? Well, actually, maybe that's a hint at the fact that we have these extra letters in clues. But why? Why is it giving us a dice? Why? Why is a dice a thematic object? Or a die a thematic object? And maybe why is it thematic? No turning back. I suppose there is no turning back once you start cutting up the grid. I suppose to work out why it would be thematic, we need to work out what the phrase is. It needs to be translated before we enter it into the grid. Let me just get rid of that dice net. This is our phrase. I think. Let me look at 26 across. Jackson game finally loses temper. Temper's got to be tone. Yeah. I mean, does it, to translate it, does it mean translating before entry into the grid? Does it mean that we need to swap letters around, or and what are some senses of the word translate? To render into another language, to express in another artistic medium, put in plainer terms, to remove or transfer to another place. I mean, I'm wondering if it means translate in that sense. Completely perplexed at the moment. How many cells do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it is meant to give us a phrase. It's a phrase that needs to be translated, but I don't understand how. How does it give that phrase? I think I'm missing something quite obvious. I have to be missing something obvious. I don't know if we... Oh, well, this isn't going to give it to us. We may well be missing a letter somewhere, which is going to make it a little bit trickier, but that definitely doesn't anagram to anything, does it? We have J, C, T, A, E, S, S, T, A, L, E, A, 5. Really not getting anything out of that at all. We do have letters there of tessellate, don't we? How do you spell tessellate? No, I don't have another L. I don't have two L's. We've got two S's. We have T-E-L. Missing an L. T-E-S-S. We have that. No, we don't have enough L's. We don't have enough E's or T. It's not going to be that. Tesseract. Tesseract is a figure of a cube within a cube. So what will that give us? T. Here we go. I think we're onto something now. We're on the hunt. T-E-S-S-E. I'm missing an R. A-C-T. I wonder if that's all stuff that appears within the... But I like the synchronicity of that tesseract being a cube within a cube. And we're left with strange. All right, I am going to go away and have a think about this. Or tesseral also. I'm going to go away and have a think about this. Come back to it tomorrow. I think we've made some excellent progress there. We've certainly potentially got a grid fill. I do like the connection between tesseract and a cube. I do like the fact that we do have the net of a cube here. Net of a dice cube. I'm going to go have dinner now, sleep on it, and see what we can come back with. See you next time.